Right, Kev? How are we
Good,
looking?
good God. This has been decades in the making. I have with me. I can actually
It
call you.
has, yeah.
I can actually call you a friend, Michael. I can call you somebody I've known for decades since childhood. We'll get into that now. Just give you a high five. Let's get the show started. Michael Janak.
Bam.
Yeah, my friend Michael. I'm talking back Broadlands days when I was 9 years old. Or was I 11? 9 years old, 11. I mean, I can't even remember back then. I'm 45 now. Um,
Yeah, no, it's been a while, Kev. That's going back many years.
and then Athlone boys.
Yeah, can you
Yes,
believe it?
that was hectic. And here we are today. You're in really the job that I dream of. By the way, I love to be in wildlife. I'd love to be in conservation. I'd love to be in that leadership role of um, preservation. Um, and I mean, you're in the element. You're in the deep Africa part of it, which is so fantastic. Here I am, decades later. I'm 45 years old, building my first hotel in the business corporate world, and I'm trying to find fun in life. So losing my hair, so that's all good.
As we all eventually do.
Absolutely. But Michael, I want to catch up with you. That's why I have you on the show
Yeah,
today.
sure.
And you're a very special person because I'm not sure what our history was like or our past was like as children, but I don't have any bad thoughts or memories of our relationship or of you, Michael. My perception of you, of where you are today, thank God for Facebook and Instagram and so forth. But my perception of you, I thought you'd become like a pro golfer. I don't know why. I always thought Michael Janak would be this pro golfer. Maybe that's something you are in another life or as a hobby. But here you are as this wildlife preservationist, is what I see you as. I know you have a job
Yeah.
in wildlife.
Yes. No, it's always been a passion of mine, from a young
Okay.
age. My father, I used to nag him, beg him, and it was always off to the zoos or when we were down at the coast to the aquariums or to the snake park, So from a very young age, I knew that this was the line that I was meant to be in.
I remember you liked snakes. I do remember that, I remember in
Yes.
Athlone, you had this infatuation with snakes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Michael, there's something
I'm
wrong
glad
with
you
you, boy, but
remember that.
yeah, you love snakes. I remember that. And they scare the
Yeah.
jays out of me. Um, but Michael, you're a gentleman. You're a scholar. I want to call you a preservatist.
Yeah.
You're what we all talk about and what we all vote for and what we all dream about, but you're actually doing it. I mean, you're in the field almost every day. Well, it's in your mind every day, all the time.
Yeah, sure.
How,
No,
how, did,
correct.
how did you get into that? How did you get into what you're doing today?
It started, it was a bit of a long, rocky road, of not knowing where I wanted to be, growing up in Johannesburg. It was difficult. But eventually, work came around and it was in the Congo for wilderness safaris. And that's where it all started. That's like many years ago. So I started working for them, building lodges all over Africa, and then getting to know Africa. I haven't been overseas much, so that I can't tell you much about. But I know Africa like the back of my
Oh,
hand.
well,
I've been everywhere.
and what do you mean building? What do you mean you're actually on site
Correct.
doing construction, putting foundations in, laying drainage and water and cable and sewer? I mean, really, is that what you're talking about?
Correct, 100%. I
Wow.
mean, especially the Congo. I was there 4 years in Odzala Kikuyu National Park. It was run by African Parks at that stage. So we were the first to actually have any sort of tourism, bring in any sort of tourism that can overnight in the park. So we had to build roads from scratch. So there were three camps there. One was a buy area more for the elephant and bongo,
Okay.
the antelope.
Yeah, yeah.
The other was a little bit more savanna, so hyena, that type of predator, and the other was the gorilla camp.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
What
So
they're known for more than just that. Congo's known for more than just that, but for some reason they've highlighted the gorilla, you know, in the Congo.
yeah, sure. Well, the Western lowland gorilla is the, then you get the Ugandan, which is the mountain gorilla, which is a subspecies. So that's the only two gorilla you get: Central, West, and East Africa.
So is there only 2 species of gorilla?
Correct.
Wow. I mean, there's like, there's 45 species of bumblebee, for Pete's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're talking gorilla. I mean, of course, bees are vital, but any animal is vital to our existence, Michael. Michael, I know Congo is a developing country, but I do know that, you know, because I have an associate who actually builds schools in the Congo. And I'm going, why would you go to the Congo? Well, first of all, he's getting paid. And second of all, it's a developing country, so it makes good money. You know, it's not the ideal location. There's malaria and so forth. However, for him, he takes malaria pills, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But for real estate, it's good for him because it's a good business, and he's building schools. So there's lots of contribution, but there's also lots of benefit, which is fair. It's symbiotic, and it's interesting because it's so sad to know that a country in the 21st century has to be a developing country. You know what I mean? This isn't medieval times anymore, or you know, civilization was just born yesterday. So well done for that, man. That's great. So did you learn? You must have learned a lot. I mean, building chalets and building those exotic environments. I mean, there's a learning curve there. And what did you take away from that, Michael?
Well, you know, spending 4 years there on and off, it was probably the greatest experience of my life. I'll never forget it. It'll be with me in my heart, in my mind forever. It just humbles you. You know, you a speck, a little sand grain in the middle of the ocean. You know, that's what it is. But it's unbelievably beautiful. It just humbles a person completely.
Well, why do you say that? Because the show really is about legends. So it's about, but a majority of it's about the mind, understanding the mind. You know, really what goes on in our existence as human beings, and the extraordinary things we can do. I do know that Congo. I do know that I've never been there, so I can't speak for it. But I'm trying to understand your perspective of why it was so humbling. What do you mean by that, Michael?
Well, it just, you know, the world is bigger than yourself. You know, a lot of times in Johannesburg's and Cape Town's, you know, the major cities, you sort of take a lot of things for granted, and you know, once you're in the wild and you realize you actually a speck and a part of a plan, the bigger plan, you realize that, you know, it humbles you. Very humbling.
Wow, interesting. You sound like a very humble person, Michael. I wish I was more like you. And maybe that's why I'm interviewing you. You can help teach me. So Michael, I mean, you know, I'm trying to talk about construction and development and building exotic locations and luxury resorts. And you're going about a humbling experience. Do you mean just because you had to, you're in the elements and you had to dig roads? And what about the locals? How were they to having you there, all of a sudden coming through their land and putting up resorts and so forth? And
well, I'll tell you, Kev, you know, there were a lot of tribes when we had a helicopter at our disposal, you know, when we were pinpointing and locating where the lodges were going to be, the 3 lodges.
Okay.
Because most of the roads through the park were non-existent. So we had to develop roads and wherever the sites were going to be. A lot of the tribes there, way up Republic Congo, way north.
Right, I mean, we're talking like, and you know, out there, you know,
uncharted territory.
Yeah.
They had never seen the likes of you and me, white skin, not, you know what I'm saying?
A helicopter. I mean, they've seen it, but now they see it up close and personal.
Sure. So it was, absolutely an experience of a lifetime. One tribe seeing another tribe for the first time in their lives.
No, it's fine. It's organic. It's beautiful. Michael B. I love when there's interruptions. I got my kids jumping on my back and so forth, and we're at home.
Sorry, Kev.
No, it's all good, Michael. I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, no, Kev, it's been great, man. It's been lovely chatting to you. You're a legend yourself, my brother.
Again, that's the humbleness, and I appreciate that very much. Listen, my friend, I'm very selfish sometimes. I'm very self-centered. There's things I want to accomplish in life. There's things I want to do. But ultimately, it's not all about me. There's lots of contribution. I have lots of amazing friends, mentors, coaches, business associates, family members. They contribute, but I've become very purposeful. So, I want to be a big-time developer. And so it's taken me a long time to get there. But finally, like everything, I've always achieved all of my goals. And I'm finally achieving that. Taken a long time, and the road has been hard, and I'm really happy. Today I've got 28 acres in Los Angeles. I'm developing a hotel.
Beautiful.
I'm developing an assisted
living. That's great,
living.
Kev. Really well done, and proud of you. That's a great achievement, really.
Thank you. Let's talk about you, Michael. Let's talk about you, because I haven't seen you for a long time, and we have many memories. I don't know if you remember. Oscar Vickerman is a dear friend of mine. He's in London right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Portland's. Alan Zeno lives in America. He actually lived in Venice Beach for a while, but now he's moved to the East Coast to his wife's family.
Okay.
LA is a very cutthroat environment, so it's it's not friendly in many ways. So you've got to come here and you've got to be very fluid, because it's a mixed match of many cultures, many. It's probably one of the most wildest environments of experience. So there's lots of things happening, lots of change happening all at the same time. Now, I mean that in a positive context. Don't
No, I understand completely.
People take this out of context, but I mean that in a positive way. So you really learn that it's hard to find your way, first of all. That's the first thing that's very hard in LA. Second of all, when you do and you start finding that real core purpose in your life, the passion that you have, the opportunities are limitless.
Really?
Prime example is Elon Musk. I'm just using him because the world knows he's taking us into space. His car company that he's run for 10 years is the number one car company in the world, more than all the other car companies combined together. So that's 100%. What I mean, Michael. It's a place, it's an environment that's, I don't think cutthroat was probably the right word, but it's it's a concrete jungle. So you were in the real wild jungle. This is a concrete jungle. This isn't New York.
What a contrast.
Right. New York is driven by money.
Right.
LA is driven by change, evolution. That's what LA is all about. Right. That's why it's a very liberal state. That's why it's a very accepting state. I mean, there's lots of things about that are wild and wonderful, and there's a lot of good and a little bit of bad, but that's okay. That's just life. You've been, you know what Africa's like. You've been into good, and there's always a little bit of bad. There's always a little bit of bad. But
definitely, wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. It's not a lot, but a little bit make a lot of noise, and ultimately, it's the good that will win. So I focus on the good, which is the 90%, because the 10% is bad, and it doesn't deserve the attention, because it's just going to corrupt you, because it's emotionally driven. There's no logic and there's no purpose in driving what the cause is of a better lifestyle, taking care of the homeless. That's more important than most other things right now. Putting a roof over people's head, clothing, feeding them. Let's go back to you. Michael, talk to me. Right now you're a manager a manager, which is good.
Yeah.
At one of the resorts there.
Yes.
You were building. First of all, how did you get the job building? Was that through acquaintances or?
Like I say, it's been a long journey. So what I basically did from building the lodges, when I left the previous company, I started maintaining lodges. So I went from lodge to lodge, doing maintenance and general upkeep of properties.
Right.
Yes, so that's basically how I got into this position, and I've used that as a leverage just to be and stay in the lifestyle that I've chosen. you know, in the
Nice.
bush with the animals. Yeah, so it's worked out well for me.
But now you've become a leader because now you're having influence where you have causes. And so I'll go to your cause right now, but there's, you know, wild animals, the big five. There's the lion, there's the buffalo, there's the giraffe, there's the rhino and the elephant, right? Is that the big five?
Correct.
Okay, I'm trying to go off memory here. But there's also cheetahs. There's also
Yeah,
ostriches. I mean, there's
correct.
hyenas.
Correct.
Why is the rhino such a big cause in Africa? Because there's all these other wild animals, but the rhino seems to always be the one that pops up that needs the most help and support. Michael?
Yeah, obviously, you know, there's the Asian myth and fallacy that, you know, the rhino horn ground and in teas and whatever is supposed to cure this or prolong life, you know. So it's a fallacy, obviously. There's no basically
Evidence or
there's no
proof? Yeah.
yeah
There
the
isn't.
rhino horn is it's
It's a myth.
keratin.
Yeah, it's a myth. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know, driven by the Asian culture, I mean, being worldwide and the demand.
There's billions. There's what you know, China. There's billions
Exactly.
of them. So yeah, exactly.
So the demand
is the big demand
is outweighing the supply. So
okay, got it.
you know, rhino are on the decline. I mean, it's crazy. The anti-poaching teams, luckily, are stepping up their game, and we seem to be winning the fight to date, especially in Madikwe Reserve. We've got you know, one of the least amounts of rhino poaching in all of Africa. So
I don't understand that logic. It makes no sense to me of poaching because I just couldn't do it. But of course it happened. So
yeah, that's
it's very hard for me to comprehend, and it's very disturbing.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around it, and why the purpose that somebody would do that for a living. I know that I don't have to make a living, Michael, but we can choose our battles better than that.
Definitely, yeah, I agree 100%.
And with you, actually, I want to quickly go to this video of where you're working right now. So just to kind of break up the disturbance in our universe about rhino poaching. So I want to quickly go there and watch this, and then after, explain to me about where you're working right now, okay?
Right, we'll do.
This is beautiful. Right. I love this. And the sanctuary, it's a beautiful statement, Michael. This is your lifestyle, hey?
That's it. That's my office, Kev.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Horn balls. That's the front entrance to the lodge, the bridge. Yeah. That's our main deck, breakfast deck, pool deck.
Chill out deck, relaxing in the cool water from the hot summers.
Yeah, there's the guides. We have a lot of elephant there, Kev. There's,
I see that, yeah.
Lizards, yeah, very prevalent there. Hyena, yeah, we have the brine hyena as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very luxurious, Michael.
Yeah, it's really great. There's one of the units facing the river. That's the Groot Marico River, which is the border between South Africa or Limpopo and Botswana.
The Limpopo River. Nice.
Yeah, the Groot Marico River. Lovely outside
I love that
shower,
little deck there, man. Little watch deck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Little watch deck. Beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, zebra, of course.
Yeah, the black-backed jackals. Yeah, bring back some memories. It's great. You know, I haven't been back to the lodge for 6 months now, you know, due to the lockdown. So I've been stuck in.
Hold on 1 second, Michael. I just want to let this finish because I'm having a hard time hearing you.
100%.
I just love the sanctuary. I just love how, I mean, because it is a sanctuary, and it's, I mean, literally, it's just stunning. Is this where you're at right now? Because you're the managing.
Kev?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, just say again. Repeat.
So this is the lodge that you're at right now, Michael?
Yes, correct, Kev.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
And so managers, I mean, I don't see you as a manager, I see you more as an influencer and a leader because of your contribution. So that's just kind of my philosophy on what you're doing, Michael. You're doing something that a lot of us talk about and, you know, we believe in, and you're actually doing it, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's also great. I mean, when I, you know, do go and leave home to see the family and friends, and they just like, you know, over the moon about what I do. And sometimes that's why I say, you know, you're working in what I'm doing, and I'm loving it. You work in an environment, but you sometimes start taking things for granted when you're there too long. So when you go back home, you know, people remind you of that inadvertently. But yes, it's lovely.
So you live there.
Living my dream.
What does the schedule look like? You live there most of the time, and you get time off. Or how does that work, Michael?
Yeah, look, we on a month, and then I get 10 days off. So, wow. which is great.
It's almost like you're on a permanent vacation, but I mean, I know you're not. It's just.
But it is, you know, the workload is lightened because you're loving where you are and what you're doing. So you don't think of it as work as much as what, you know, somebody would be doing
in an office,
in and out of the city. Correct. Yeah.
And Michael, it's in Botswana, right? Or is it on the border of South Africa and Botswana?
It's still South African side. So the Groot Mariko is the border. We have our own private game reserve, part of the sanctuary group, and then we access the Madikwe game reserve through, you know, over the river, a bridge through, yeah.
Excellent. And then what I also saw was, I mean, the Lost City is, it's kind of like, it was in the same direction, almost in a sense, you know what I mean?
It's very close.
But I thought Sunset was in Botswana. I didn't realize it was actually in South Africa. For some reason, I always thought that it was in Botswana, which it isn't.
No, it isn't. You know, there's a small province in between, Babotutswana. Sounds like Botswana, but Babotutswana.
Oh,
so that's where Sunset is. That's why you might have that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, the ignorance kicking in. I've been in America for too long. You know, everything becomes a blur after a while. You know. So Michael, you went to Athlone Boys. Did you have to study anything to get into the Safari Lodge world or industry?
No, I did not. You know, I had a background of construction, as in you know, urban construction, housing, that type of. And a lot of other things, and this basically was my entry to working in Africa and on the lodges, you know. So it started in the construction, then I went over to maintenance and managing, you know. So it was a stepping stone over the years to where I am now, which worked out well for me.
Yes, and now you're enjoying the life because you've given your commitments and your support, and so it's elevated you to a better position. Because I know in America, to be construction manager, you have to spend 2 years in the field, you know, doing labor, which is good. I'm bypassing it because I'm developing property. And to be honest with you, my biggest reason for being a developer is Solomon Kersner.
Went to Athlone Boys.
I went to Athlone Boys, my friend. So I hated Athlone Boys, just to be honest with you. I hated school in general, Michael. I'm just...
I didn't like it either, Kev. Join the club.
And my wife even knows that. She says, shh, don't run the kids. To me, school's kind of... it's too archaic, and it gave me nothing but 18 years of my life to be in school, which I came out getting a $12 an hour job, you know what I mean? So our kids are brought up very differently, and my kids are doing phenomenal because of our standards that we did for them. Nice. My 20-year-old is just blowing my mind. This kid is just an incredible human being, and I'm really happy. But anyway, and so is my 19-year-old. Michael, that's what drove me at Athlone. Was I knew that if Saul Kersner went to Athlone boys, and I was at that moment in time, that I had a future. I honestly, because Athlone was very hard on me. Also, I came from upper class neighborhood, so I was, and I was a very naughty. Those that went to Brawlins were people that needed some discipline in their life and some support, and so I can understand why my mother sent me there, even though I freaking hated it. Most of the time, I hated it.
I was one of them. Don't worry, Kev. I was one of them.
I took away a lot, Michael, but it also a lot affected me. Do you know what I mean? Being a boys' school as a child, I would never do that to my children because I don't have to. But my mother being a single mom, working all the time, and me being the brat that I was, I can't blame my mother all the time. I contributed to the chaos in the lifestyle that we had, and my poor mother was just trying to cope, especially in South Africa as a single mother.
Shame in those years. I can imagine.
Yeah, and Brawlins was part of the. I almost like it kind of molds you. It can either break you or make you. And then Athlone was the next level because Athlone was just rough, man. Athlone was rough and tough, and again, I can't complain because I am where I am today because of those situations. So
it gave you the character you have today, Kev. That's for sure.
It kicked my butt, buddy.
Good. Well, you needed that. That's what you needed.
Yeah, my kids today, I've got 5 boys, and they have no idea.
Jeez, well done, Kevin.
So I've got this favorite restaurant, a South African restaurant here in Long Beach, just outside of Los Angeles. And we were there last night. So help me understand this, Michael, because this is why we're having this conversation. So about once a month I go back and because I have to drive there and it's just kind of a drive out the way, but I go there just because the memory and the taste of South African boerewors rolls and biltong and so forth. And Cook Sisters and all the kind of stuff and samosas that they make. So my whole family was there last night, and the owner is a South African named Trevor, and he came out. He knows he always comes to the high and say.
Not Trevor Noah, is it? Kidding. Trevor Noah, just kidding.
Oh, no, it's Trevor Netman. And he says, Kevin, every time you come here, the ladies all say, it's this short guy with this funny accent that asks for you. So I'm listening to Kevin, I say, short guy, who's short? Because in my mind, I'm not short. I'm 5'5", but in my mind, like, who's short, first of all? And funny accent, it's so interesting how people interpret us and differently, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and funny accent, I got a Blade Divine accent, you know what I mean? And I laugh because it's interesting our perspective of how we see ourselves and how we carry ourselves. Because I'm actually 5'4", but I tell people I'm 5'5". And it's very interesting that I've seen that in a South African restaurant, and Michael, I love Americans. I think they're the most amazing people in the world. I love this country. It's given me so much. And yet I still see myself as this different person. They see me as somebody else. And I think to myself, that's interesting. But here you are, Michael, and what you're doing is larger than life. And I mean that in a sincere way, because I know you're humble about it. But you're actually doing it. You're actually on the cause of saving at least, if you can make 1% difference in the saving of a Rhino's life or the Rhino family in general. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. You're in the wild. You're giving people an opportunity to see a part of nature that they'll never see back home, in the cities or suburbia. I'm not jealous. That's not the right word. But I'm kind of excited because I've got a buddy that's doing that. Instead of being a golfer that I thought you would be. And why is that? Why do I think golf for some reason, Michael?
Kev, tennis maybe. I'm sure.
Yes, I remember we love tennis. I remember that we love tennis. Yeah.
Correct. So I carry on with the tennis. I just never took it that step further.
Right. And what did you? Do you play golf?
I do play golf. Yeah, not professionally, but I do play golf.
And I want to tell you something else to say about South Africans, because for some reason, I guess I'm different than most South Africans. But do you know who Sean Thompson is, right?
Yeah, I know him.
Are you related to him by any chance?
No.
I see a lot of South Africans have that kind of Sean Thompson look. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like they're tall, broad shoulders, dark hair, you know, and and this, 5'4", blonde haired, brown haired kid. I'm like, okay, that's something along the line of Mr. Gene or something, Michael. Um, so with this cause, with this Rhino cause, what are you doing, Michael? Is there a daily goal, a monthly, weekly?
Yeah, there's the short-term and long-term goals. So the long-term goal is obviously the preservation in as a whole for the rhino.
Yeah.
Short-term goals are to put in place measures that including the anti-poaching and that type of thing to keep them safe.
Measures
and
meaning
as
what?
well as relocating, for
Okay.
breeding programs. Yeah.
Okay.
So to further their chances. We've done a lot of rhino relocations, and it's unbelievably awesome when you're standing next to the tranquilized rhino. It's just unbelievable how tiny you are, a speck in the ocean. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievably humbling. You cannot I can't explain it to you. You've got to experience for yourself.
I was about to say, I think next time I come to South Africa, I'm going to come hang out with you, Michael, because I need to experience that, because we kind of miss the plot in life sometimes. We become self-centered, we become greedy and so forth, and we forget. I'm actually going to do that. Michael, I actually just learned this just a couple of weeks ago. Human beings try and manipulate the wilderness or wildlife by taking like the wolf away out of a region, or putting in more badgers to help with the damming and so forth. And they said that it's actually it's not constructive at all. It's quite destructive. They said that if you just leave nature alone, like if you just leave it alone and you walk away, that one year there might be more buffalo than the last year, and it's a little bit unbalanced. But all of a sudden, the next year, it's all balanced. And so they said there's kind of this wave of balance and unbalance. So maybe there's more seagulls this year on the ocean than last year. But somehow it all equals itself out. Isn't Mother Nature, which you're in, such an incredible, bizarre, misunderstood formula?
It is, Kev. It's very misunderstood, and we still have so much to learn. I mean, it's crazy, but you're right. I mean, it's sort of like the yin and the yang. It's continuous flow of life, and like you say, if you just leave it alone, don't interfere, observe, enjoy, and that's it. It'll benefit you, and everything will equalize itself. Yeah, and that's the equilibrium of life.
Dogs will go back to packing and going in, kind of like a little pack of wolves, almost like dogs.
Yeah.
So Michael, how can we support you? Let's end it here. I mean, I can talk to you forever because you're a bro.
Yeah, no, sure.
and it's just amazing, Michael. I haven't seen you in probably 40 years. Well, no, about 35 years. Or actually, just over 30 years. What's the next step for Michael Janak in his life?
Kev, I'm always be close to nature one way or another, and I'll always have a hand in helping wherever I can. So yes, but the next step in my life is I need to start settling down a little bit. It's been a really up and down, beautiful adventure, but it's been all over the country and up and down. I've never had time to settle and have a proper family, so I think it's getting to that time now.
Well, why, Michael? Why would you want to do that?
Kev, I think I've given the best part of my life to nature. Like I say, I'll always be there and always have a hand in it and be close to nature. But I need to start stepping back a little bit and enjoying what's left of my life.
Right, because you got kids and so forth, and your partner and so forth. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So what can you do? What can you do as a contribution? Because your purpose has been so deep in preservation and wildlife. What can you do if you're going to settle down, Michael? What can you do in order to bring that message to the world?
As in
what
wildlife
what you've seen
preservation.
and what you've seen, what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you've saved, what you're saving, because you've got so much to offer that there's so much for you to share, especially on social media. You can share so much, but
I
for
would
you,
like, Kev, if possible, there's just, I'm not a writer, so there's no way as I'm going to be writing a book, but I would love to do what we are doing right now, more often, and sort of a Q&A type sessions with public, and just sharing my experiences. I think that's the best way that I'm going to get my experiences and views and across to public.
right? But Michael, I'm gonna have we're gonna end it over here. I have one more question for Michael, but we're gonna end it over here, and I'm gonna put all of Michael's contact details in the description box below. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. Hit the like button and smash the bell so you get notifications whenever I do another podcast and interview legends in our world. These are the untold stories of heroes that really have a voice, and I'm really trying to get it out there where it's not just my voice, it's not just your voice, it's everybody's voice. So and also, if you really want to see what Michael's life has been, I just go to his Facebook page. It's awesome, and see where he works, and there's so much content there. Michael, what can you give us? What's where you're at now, where you want to settle? There's been a kind of not a cracking universe, but there's been a mind shift. Okay, tell us about that, and what do you think people need to do in order to find their true calling? Because you found it, but now you're kind of transitioning into more of a settled environment. You've got kids. You want to, do you think you're taking something away from them, or you think you're giving them something, Michael?
To my children?
Yes.
No, definitely giving them something. Kev, look, where I will be settling is right on the border of a park, a national park. So
nice.
That's why I say I'll always have my hands in and involved in the parks and welfare of animals, and stay on the doorstep of that. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic, Michael. I mean that in a sincere way, because you've had this extraordinary life. I know you don't see it that way, but you really have. And I'm just trying to see how we can get more of it, because the story, things become so bad before they get heard. Like, situations become almost detrimentally extinct before people pay attention. But then it's too late, because we've lost so many creatures. I'm saying the word creatures because there's so many different walks of life of animal, and ocean, oceanics, if I can call it that. That when it's too late, it's too late.
Correct.
So do we start a TV program? Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you're saying. 90% of the time, when people realize, it's got to a position where it's now make or break, it's often too late. So whether you think we need it or not, now is the time to act and preserve wildlife, and we've just all got to do it. We existing because of that.
Absolutely.
Without that, we do not exist.
Right.
It's a simple fact.
And also, guys, if you want to get involved, or if you have questions, reach out to Michael, because he's the real deal. He's the pro. We get real estate professionals and sales professionals and stamp professionals. Michael's a wildlife professional, expertise. Buddy, thank you for your time, Michael. It's been very special.
It's been a pleasure, and it's been lovely catching up with you. Really, we need to do this more often. Thank you for the opportunity.
I think in the near future, let's catch up again and see where you're at and what you're doing. And if you know anybody that wants to get into the show, please let them get a hold of me. That are organizers, or they've got programs or causes that are looking for some support. That's really the main cause of this. I'm not interviewing celebrities. I don't need to interview them. I'm interviewing heroes, legends.
I'm with you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll speak soon.
Take care.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, bud.